In the early hours, the horizon over Iran ignited. Synchronized airstrikes are hitting targets across multiple provinces, signaling a turn toward direct, uncontained warfare. After President Trump threatened to bomb the country back to the Stone Ages, American and Israeli forces carried out widespread strikes against Iranian internal defenses. U.S. warplanes targeted and destroyed the B-1 suspension bridge, Iran's largest riverside crossing. The strike hit during the end of the Persian New Year holidays, killing 8 picnickers and injuring nearly 100 people gathered by the water. Reports from Tehran indicate the Pasteur Healthcare Institute was hit, causing severe damage to a historic medical facility that has served the city for centuries. In a live address, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian called for an international medical response, labeling the destruction of healthcare infrastructure a crime against humanity. By selecting a major transit artery and a historic hospital as primary targets, the coalition is utilizing a strategy designed to inflict maximum psychological and economic damage on the civilian population. Iran's response was immediate. Just hours after the initial strikes, a new barrage of missiles reached the center of Israel, targeting heavily populated residential areas. These missiles carried cluster warheads that evaded interception, resulting in extensive property damage across multiple sites, though no immediate injuries were reported. Below the strikes, Jerusalem has entered a state of total lockdown. For the Good Friday liturgy, Israeli authorities strictly limited access to the Holy Sepulchre, allowing only a small number of church leaders and vetted worshippers to enter. The northern front in Lebanon is simultaneously expanding. Israeli airstrikes are hitting the capital of Beirut as ground forces continue their advancement into the southern part of the country. In Beirut's southern neighborhoods, the window for survival is shrinking. Israeli evacuation orders frequently give residents as little as 30 minutes to flee before the bombs begin to fall. Tens of thousands of civilians remain trapped in the south, including several Christian villages that have refused to leave despite a month of continuous combat and a growing displacement crisis. Iran's ability to coordinate these long-range strikes while its proxy borders are under heavy fire demonstrates a high-level military capability, forcing Israel into a prolonged war of attrition on multiple fronts. The geography of the conflict has now shifted. Strike vectors are expanding outward from the primary combatants and reaching into non-aligned Gulf states. Kuwait reports that an Iranian strike has hit a major oil refinery, igniting multiple fires that emergency crews are currently struggling to contain. This expansion is driven by the classification of dual-use sites. Both sides are justifying attacks on hospitals and refineries by claiming these civilian facilities secretly support the opposing military's logistics. That justification is facing intense legal scrutiny. 100 international law experts have issued a warning, citing the extreme language used by U.S. officials as evidence of a disregard for civilian protections. These experts concluded that the initial attacks by the U.S., Israel, and Iran all represent a clear breach of the United Nations Charter and international law. The inclusion of Kuwaiti refineries in the strike zones shifts the economic weight of this conflict. This targeting of neutral energy resources forces the rest of the world to reckon with the immediate instability of the Persian Gulf. The scale of destruction may soon increase. President Trump has signaled that if a ceasefire deal isn't reached immediately, the next phase of strikes will focus on Iran's internal energy infrastructure. The destruction of Iranian energy grids, combined with fires in Gulf refineries, creates a massive supply chain shock. Global markets are already reacting to the potential for a total loss of these energy exports. Diplomatic paths to de-escalation are currently blocked by political realities. The Lebanese prime minister admitted his government seeks peace, but has no authority to stop Hezbollah's rocket fire into Israel. While the White House maintains that this campaign is making the region safer, the reality on the ground consists of burning refineries and destroyed hospitals and a widening theater of war. The total abandonment of traditional engagement rules indicates that future strikes will prioritize regional infrastructure over military precision. Without a diplomatic breakthrough, the likely result is a cascading series of refinery failures that will force a drastic recalibration of the global energy market.